I've noticed that not everybody says the pledge, but I think it's lovely that we do. So why don't we stand and say the pledge, and then we'll do our roll call and get started. So do it as if we were meeting in person. So, and we have our flag, so it's wonderful. I pledge allegiance
to
the flag of the
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty
and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. So we'll do our roll call. Again, a public meeting. We just say who we're with. I'm Deborah Koval, present, and I am alone in the room. Karen.
Karen Freed, present, and I'm alone.
Sohini.
I'm alone in this room,
Okay,
and I'm present.
Okay, thank you. Janice.
I'm president. I'm present and alone in this room.
She's president.
I'm president.
Okay. Janet.
I am present, and my son Daniel is in the room.
Hello, Daniel. So thank you. And hello, Yvette. So, okay. So before we get started, I need to make note that this is Janice's last official meeting with us. And so I've already told her, but I will say it publicly, that we will miss her voice. We will miss her thoroughness, her opinion, and the opinions and time that she has devoted to the library board of trustees. Have much appreciated, and you will be missed. And we did tell you can come to any meeting you want to, right? As a member of the public. And thank you very much for all that you've done, Janice. We will miss having you on the board. So.
Thank you very much. I will miss being on the board. It's been a wonderful education into the world of the library. I have a whole new appreciation for trustees and library directors and library staff. So it's been a very good learning experience for me, and I enjoyed working with everyone.
Great, thank you. We'll still see you at some other meetings, but this was our last official monthly meeting. Okay. Does anyone else want to say anything before we get started? Okay. So we'll go right to our February action items. Let's see. February action items. There weren't many. There was that I would forward the email with the Quimby Trust document to all trustees, which I did, I think, right away after that meeting. I still have not heard back from the lawyers. I'm not sure Yvette, you have not heard anything from them either, have you? From the Courier lawyers? We wanted a copy with the his signature witnessed and dates, and we have not gotten anything. Okay, you haven't gotten anything either? Okay. So I guess I'll put on an action item for me to call Courier tomorrow and see what's going on. Then it says Library Board of Trustee Chair Deborah Koval will deliver staff input forms to department heads. That is done. Trustees to come up with questions for library staff regarding the copy machine. Janet, do you want to just address that under copier for new business, or would you like to talk about? Okay. And library director to ask staff for ideas about the distribution of the remaining library logo masks. So I guess we had talked briefly about, should we sell them? Is that too much for the staff to do? So I don't know if Yvette, that's even been a topic of conversation with what to do with the extra masks.
No one has asked, I think it was, let's see if people notice them and ask about them when the staff wear them, and no one has asked about them. So.
Great. Okay, well, those were our action items, and it looks like we're done and done.
So there was one old action item from January, which was for me, to draft the memo of understanding with the town, which I
That's
sent.
correct. Sorry.
No, it's
Thank
okay.
you. Okay, and you sent us a copy, or you sent us some information.
Yep.
Okay. Did anybody have a chance to take a look at that? Is that something? Okay.
No.
Do you want to talk? Yeah. Go ahead, Sohini.
Yeah, the only thing I saw that it was something regarding the formatting. I think somewhere it's a little bigger, somewhere it's a little smaller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the alignment and the formatting. So the fonts are not the same all through.
Okay.
Maybe when you saved it, something went wrong.
No problem.
Oh, on the PDF looks, I don't have that on the PDF, but Yvette, did you have a chance to take a look at it? Do you have any comments, thoughts, ideas?
No, but you know, it might be something where we send, I mean, what do you want to do with it next?
That I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. That was,
Is he doing rabbit ears to you?
What?
Nothing. Daniel is in the back.
were you
Um,
doing something?
He was speaking. You look like he was speaking. You know, I think, you know, if you have a draft, then it's sending it to, you know, you could send it to the chair, or you can send it to Becky in Eileen's office to say, we would like to discuss this, or how would you like us to discuss this? Or maybe it goes to Paul first, you know.
I think I would love the idea of, saying we're just opening a discussion, maybe with Paul, like this is just a discussion. And so we'd love you to take a look at it and give us some feedback. I think he's been a really great I don't want to say ally because it makes it sound like he's on our side, but like a great a go-between for the town. He understands the way that the town with a capital T works, and I think has a pretty good understanding of how we're working. And I think he would be a great person if he'd be willing to take a look at it. So should that come from Yvette, Janet, me? What would you guys like to do?
I think it should come from you.
Okay.
But my only hesitation is, well, given that it's a draft, I guess it doesn't matter because it's not like the board has formally approved it. And obviously,
Mhm.
I assume there would be changes from their end as well. So
Mhm.
there would just need to be once it's formalized, we would approve it, they would approve it, and go forth.
Yep. So why don't I just send him an email and tell him that this is a process we're starting. We're just trying to, and that we'd like to open the discussion. Would he be willing to look at the draft and take it from there? So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want
right.
something more than just the PDF, or is that good?
No, that's fine. The PDF
Okay.
works for me. I will just say that I am a fan of PDF in all formats because I know a lot of you guys use Word, but I use Google, and so the PDF, just if it's not something I have to edit, I love a PDF. So thank you. This is perfect. So, okay. Any other comments on the memorandum of understanding?
That's good.
Great. Okay, new business. We have quite a few policies to look at. Should we begin with the photography, filming, and videography policy? Yvette, thank you for sending me a PDF of the redlined one, because the one that you sent me originally, I could not see where they had made changes, and I like being able to look at the document like that. Did everybody have a chance to look at the email from the attorney and their recommended changes? Yvette, I would like to say thank you, because obviously they thought you did a great job on the drafting of the policy. They had a lot of compliments about this was, well done, and how it would cover different things. So thank you for you and your staff for that. Any comments, questions, concerns about the changes recommended by the attorney?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't even seem like they had a lot of changes because it was so thorough from Yvette and staff. So
So then I would like to make a motion that we approve the policy with the changes recommended by the attorney.
I'll second.
Thank you, Janet. I'll vote in favor. Karen,
Yes.
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you, Yvette. And I think that was absolutely the right thing, going through the attorney to clarify that. Janice.
Could someone remind me who seconded?
I did.
Janet.
Okay, thank you.
Then the other policy before us is the social media policy.
He's good.
That looks good.
Okay. I'll make them. Oh, go
Did
ahead.
did I mention maybe in my director's report why I'm bringing it to you?
don't recall seeing anything in their director's report, but if you have a reason that you'd like to share with us to give us some insight, sure, go ahead.
Maybe I just want to make you aware that since moving all of our programming to virtual programming on social media, Facebook and the like, our staff have been harassed during programs. Most commonly that I'm hearing is during story time. Just people getting on and making rude comments that are very, very inappropriate during this. If it's on Instagram, then other patrons can't see these comments, but the staff can see them. So part of this was trying to figure out what our response can be so that we can have control over the dialogue. You know, we certainly don't want anyone to be harassing the staff when they're trying to do their job. And if it was in the building, they would be asked to leave immediately. So that's what we're going to do. And I think it's, you know, you'll see some of the languages, you know, your account will be blocked. And that's the same as being banned from a building, in my opinion. And then if we can get a screenshot and information, we're going to pursue something and give it to the police, and it's not appropriate. It's absolutely not appropriate. So that was kind of like I was working on the policy, and then you know, the staff told me, you know, there's actually something else that has been going on.
Yeah, unacceptable. And thank you for coming up with a policy so that it's clearly stated and that you can take care of that as needed. So, all right. Well, I will make a motion that we accept the social media policy.
I second.
Thank you, Sohini. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I will vote in favor. Karen,
Yes.
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Open POs. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you for the list of open POs.
Yeah, one of the questions that we had on our end is we have some open POs that we're addressing. One of them is furniture for the teen area, high top tables, which, you know, because we don't have a lot of furniture in the library right now for patrons, Kathy was wondering if we should purchase it or not. And Joanne called the vendor and they will deliver it not assembled. So we can store it, but we're getting, you know, we're moving to the next phase, which you have to look at and approve, which is a little bit more, you know, a little bit more seating and a little bit more tabletops. So I think, you know, this started the conversation of we're aware of some remaining open POs, and what is the expectation of the board? How quickly would you like us to spend it? I mean, sometimes it's not practical to spend it, or it's a little more challenging because normally we would just order the furniture, put it up, and it's in, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think that the whole thing about the open POs was when we were looking at ways to fund certain things, right? That we wanted to use the open POs from earlier years. I don't know that there's necessarily, like, I see there's a couple of 18, 19, 19, 20. I don't know. Does anybody have any concerns about how quickly they should be spent? I mean, I think it's more that we want you to use that money first before we look to spend, you know, the money out from other areas.
okay.
Janet, do you have any concern?
No.
No? Janice, Sohini, Karen?
No,
Oh.
it just seems to me that we should spend in a related way to what we've set aside, with the older things being spent first, so
Mhm.
that we can you know, stay current on our spending and the projects. So if that's what we're doing, then I don't see any reason why anything else should happen. Especially if Janet is as far as the, you know, the categories and the accounts and all that stuff that I do not understand.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Yvette? Or were you looking for a more clarifying answer than that?
I know that it, you know, like what we're looking at right now are, you know, if I'm looking at the old ones, there's only verbal judo trainer. I'm finally back in touch with the trainer. That was an 1819 one. And they're going to be able to do the training. I have a trainer in Maine now, so they're going to be able to do the training. So that should be spent soon, in the next month, I would say. And then the desk for adult services, I sent you a drawing
Yeah.
from Tucker, which is the custom one, and for comparison, one from another vendor, which is, you know, we don't have a workaround for that. So, but I think that's the only one, because I think the teen furniture was last year, was 1920. So yeah, okay. I think that answers my question.
Great. And it's just nice to see the list. I know that was something that was asked for. So, excuse me, I'm just going to mute myself for 1 second. Copier, Janet, would you like to talk about the copier?
Excuse me.
Or, let me pull it up. Oh, where did it go?
Oh, yeah, that was an older one.
I'm sure that was just a call about my warranty, because it always seems like I need to renew my warranty.
Yeah, I have that too. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Oh. So I sent you the information regarding the copier, or at least the copier information that I had. And if you looked at, I wanted the board to just see the numbers, as in terms of like how I see it, not in terms of how I see it, but the fact that I do see the numbers. So you can see from when we bought it to what we've made so far, and then what our expenses are. And then it was how did you want to go? Like, how do we see this going forward? And then it was, like I said, it was more just in giving you guys the information, because I would like the library to come up with a business plan on how they want to go forward with the copier, given how much it makes per year or doesn't make per year, and the total income and the total expenses.
Do you think that there is going to be a shift from expecting the copy to be self-sustaining, and that we'll get enough money to purchase a new copier, given just the way of the world right now?
I'm sorry, Deb, my dog just started with the big toy and I couldn't hear you. What? I know. Can you say that again?
I'm just wondering if, you know, they should be giving some thought to whether the copier just has to be thought of differently, that it's not going to be able to self-sustain. It's not the expense, it's a service we provide. Are we not going to be able to count on the money that comes in to purchase a new copier going forward? Is that just, it's going to have to be something different? Are we going to have to look at a different model for how we do this?
Exactly. Or and I'm just throwing it out. It's like, does the income need to change? Do we need to charge more? Or do we not want to charge more? Is there something we can do with expenses? I don't know. It's in the library, but there's functions that happen and I only see the money part. So, and when I look at the money part, we're going to end up losing money throughout, or at least considering it's not totally being thoroughly utilized. But I don't know, which is why I'd like to see what the library would come up with, what Yvette and staff would come up with. They might have a different approach. They might have a different ideas going forward. And because at some point, I assume we will need a new copier, and how we're going to go about doing that, it'd be nice currently to have a plan if it's 3, 4, 5 years from now to meet that plan.
Thank you for putting it all together like this. Yvette, do you think that's something that Arifa or you or Max would like to just give some thought to and come up with some ideas of what the trends are?
I might be confused, so I'll just start that way. It's if you look back at the library's mission, our mission statement is not to find income streams.
Right, that's what I was saying, that I think that it's for a long time, the copier has been thought of as self-sustaining, right? And that we're going to use this money to buy a new one, but that maybe we have to look at it.
I was never told that. I don't know that we are going to use this money to buy a new copier.
I'm saying that, right, and I'm saying like that's probably not going to happen, right? So we have to think of it differently. This is a service we provide. But what are we going to be looking for in the future? Like, are we going to need to get another big behemoth copier? Is it going to be something different? Like, what are the trends? What are people doing in the library? Like,
what we're doing now is the trend. We were
Okay.
behind. We were behind, and our copier was failing. And this was the copier that looked like a very small copier. It was right outside my office, and it was failing. And every time I spoke to Conway, they said, you can't afford a new copier. And I said, humor me. And they said, well, when we get a new line of copiers and we have one traded in and refurbished, then I'll let you know, because you can afford that. So, you know, what the other libraries at the time were doing, and this is probably 2015, 16, 17, other copiers were offering a combination copier like the machine we have. We did a lot of research and came up with that machine because it was comparable to what other libraries were doing. I mean, I was never told of a different goal for the copier than just it's a service that we offer. So I don't really understand that you're saying we need to think of it in a different way, because I've never thought of it in any other way as just we offer copies. You know, I think if it could work as a fax machine too, that would be great. But
maybe I'm thinking of like the trustees that maybe need to think of it differently, right? Because I think Janet, and correct me if I'm wrong, your concern was that when it comes time to purchase another one, we would not have accrued enough income, and that it's costing money that we don't. I don't know. Maybe I should leave it
Yes.
to you to explain. Okay.
No, yes, you had it right. At some point, if that copier died and we needed to buy a new copier, our copier would have like, I don't think what it was, $4,800 to buy a copier. So.
okay, so what do we have in fines? It's equipment purchases. We have a municipal budget. I mean, we would budget for that. We have a technology plan already for equipment replacement. So I guess I'm just.
Yeah, but we can't use town money. We can't use town money for the copier. So fine money we can touch, but then at some point we've talked about going away from fines. So then in terms of a business plan, it'd be nice if the copier could be somewhat at least self-sustaining.
I ask a question?
Sure, Janice, go ahead.
So the copier is something that the trustees purchased?
Yes.
And so I'm wondering whom are we asking this question to? Are we asking this question to ourselves?
No, wait, what question?
The question of whether we'd have enough money to purchase a new copier if we needed one, and or how do we make it self-sustaining? Like whose job is that? Is it our job as the trustees, or is it the library staff's job, or some combination of the two? I guess I'm confused in the sense of if it's a revenue generating process for the trustees, then wouldn't the trustees be the ones who try to make sure that we have enough money to purchase a new one if we need to purchase a new one?
If that's how we want to look at it, sure.
Well, and I think revenue generating, not just for anything, but to purchase a new one, right? It's
Right,
just being able
right.
to. Mhm. All right.
I mean, I think, somewhere, Janet, you noted the RSA 202A11A, that the board can retain and use money from the library's income generating equipment. But
Yep.
in other towns, the trustees turn it over to the town.
Right.
So it's not, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but we're not in the business to make money, and I feel like I say that all the time. I think if you raise the rates, the previous boards have not wanted to raise the copying rates. So we never have. I think if I want to buy a car, then I'm going to put money aside to buy a car and estimate how long it's going to take me to save to buy this car, right? So, I mean, I know we don't have a negative in the trustee accounts, but
No.
wouldn't you consider having a savings plan or something to save up for a copier?
Absolutely. But at some point, there has to be a trade-off. It can't constantly be coming from a source that we're also getting, like, that's being used, put it that way. If we're always in the red, then we're just continually losing money, whether it's putting money aside yearly from fines or whatever is left over from the copier. At some point, we're in the red. So we're just losing money. And I realize we're not in the business, but we should at least be breaking even. And some of with the copier, well, at least today, because of the circumstances, we're losing money.
Can I just spitball here? And I don't want to be inappropriate or anything, but if we stay in the red, are you proposing that we remove copier services from our services and we just don't do it?
No, what I want to see how it's being used, and the expenses that we have for it, and so the income coming in, the expenses that we have going out, how can this be better aligned to make it break even, and preferably have a little bit in the black, so going forward, when the time comes to buy a new copier, we can buy it outright.
So I know that Yvette has in her, and I don't want to put the copier discussion off, but I know that Yvette has in her director's report a plan to phase in a slightly modified social distancing, stage 7. I wonder if it would be worth taking a look at this, even just comparing what things look like in 3 months. Are we getting more revenue? Are more people coming in? I know it still might not break even, and I think this is a good discussion. I like the idea of having a plan, so that we aren't in the red. And I love the idea of not having fines, but I hear you that somewhere along the line, we have to be able to pay our bills, the copier. We have to be able to sustain it to do the things that we need to do. So I don't know that we're going to come to any answers right now, but maybe we could look and see if there's any change in a couple of months. Are we getting more people in? And think about what would be our next step. I don't know that we're going to come up with any answers today for how to proceed. So,
well, I'm trying to jot down your questions so that I can understand what you want us to track and think about. So I think I have your questions
well,
correct.
I think Yeah, and I think that we wanted, well, we want to certainly see like, you know, this has been a weird year, right? Is income going to go up enough to bring us back to a level that is comfortable? You know, not necessarily revenue generating, but meeting our costs to continue the service. And that does not mean we would ever get rid of a copier. I mean, people need to be able to copy things. That's a given, right? We just want to be able to do it responsibly and not be caught unaware if we do need to buy a new one. So,
Okay.
okay. Janet, thank you for your documentation, though. It's nice to have it all in one place, and it will help our new board members to understand what's going on. So, okay. COVID statistics. Do you have anything to report on that, Eva?
No,
Okay.
no.
I saw in your plan that you're getting stuff from the staff. Okay. Operating budget, February 2021, general ledger and invoice manifest.
I didn't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Nope. Okay. Then I guess we'll move on to the director's report if no one has anything on that.
You got me moving fast today. Okay.
I was like, I want to be brief and productive. Let's go. So
Okay, can I just pause? Did you wanna, can we just go back a minute and look at the quote for the desk? Because
Sure.
they do want me to ask you about that.
okay.
So you know, I don't know what kind of questions you have, but right now we have a PO in place. That's $1,000. I also had an email exchange with Paul and Tom Boland just to see what their projections are for what we'll have at the end of the year. And we're looking at $50,000. So there is stuff in the budget.
Mhm.
You know, usually what we do is capture all that money in June and then end up spending it, you know, in the summer or sometime over next year. But, you know, if we know what we want ahead of time,
Mhm.
and there's money in the budget, then can we spend it is the question.
Okay. So you want to know from us our thoughts on the quote from Tucker, the quote for the Brodar? What are you looking for specifically?
Yes,
If we are on board with you purchasing these items.
Yes.
Okay.
that is the good way to say it. Yes.
Okay.
When I saw this, I was confused again. I thought we had already decided this issue. I feel like there was some $14,000 number floating around and maybe I'm not remembering correctly.
Yep.
That we
And
had talked about is this oh, this is desks. This is not the shelving. Excuse me, my mistake. Thank you.
Can we look
Right.
at the Brodart one first, the oak circulation desk? So, so are you just saying like this is a choice instead of the Tucker one? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that the board has always wanted me to go for multiple quotes. So
Okay.
this is what's ready-made, but it doesn't suit our needs. And you know, the desks that are currently at the reference area are broken.
Mhm.
The staff has been making do through a couple of department heads. I've been asking department heads, can you tell me what the desk looks like? And Max finally can tell me what the desk looks like, and the previous department heads haven't been able to tell me. So I'm glad. I just want to close this thing up, you know. And they made some modifications, thinking ahead with COVID. You know, they want to make sure that they have the shape. You know, they kind of created the shape with a table and, you know, kind of carts and stuff. How it is now. They've worked within that space. They're comfortable with it, and so this is the drawing of that. The desk that they designed can be taken apart and moved if we ever have that opportunity. But it seems to fit the way that they work. And they've worked in this space, you know, kind of doing a trial of it for a while. And it has all the, I think it has the features that they want. And I've talked to Max and Casey and Brianna and Angela about their workflow. And I feel like I've gone over this desk a lot. So I'm very satisfied with it. You know, it's a pretty typical reference desk. In other libraries I've worked with a desk like this. But I think, you know, the desks are broken. That's all I'll just say right now.
Yep.
The drawers don't work. It's kind of.
Yeah, okay. And Janet, do you have, I should say, does anyone have any money questions for Yvette about where this is coming from or anything like that that we need?
I guess I would just, I do, like, where is the money coming from?
Well, if we have a surplus, which is usually in the personnel line, then you would need to vote to move it to, you know, I don't know, what does this fall under? Office equipment. I might have to look in this spreadsheet to see which number we might have used in the past for this kind of stuff, but, you know, move it from one to the other.
So in other words,
it
the money's
exists.
there.
It exists.
Okay. So are we voting on moving the money so they can purchase it, or are we voting on whether?
Yes, we're deciding, do we want them to purchase it? And if we do, we need to vote to move the money.
Okay.
So, Janet, do you have any thoughts? Sohini, Karen? You're muted, Janet.
It fits
Oh,
in
heck,
this space. Yes, okay. It just, with the desks currently there and then looking at this, I don't have a good feel for how it fits, but
Oh,
if
no.
it fits, it fits. Okay.
It fits.
Yeah,
enough
I
to
think-
use the table for the tax forms in team where we want to add another surface and we can't. It's a domino.
Mhm.
You know how dominoes are. So
Mhm.
it affects everything else.
Okay. Sohini, do you have any thoughts? Karen, questions?
The only thing that occurs to me is that we have moved furniture so much, of course, under these circumstances, but this has been designed by the staff to be located in a specific place to fit well and to work, and wouldn't be very flexible if for some reason we wanted to move it elsewhere. It's just in the long term. Do we want to spend 9,000, almost 10 for this? I don't know. I guess it's too early to really think about the architects and what we're going to do and so on, because I don't know that this desk would be useful for a renovation or anything like that. And it's a good chunk of money, but if it's what the staff wants, and just with the assumption that we're going to only get more normalized in this building with this particular layout, then I say, let's go ahead.
I've asked the staff when we moved the furniture to where it is now, because I moved the furniture to the place it used to be, because the circ desk used to be there, you know.
Yeah.
And the reference desk used to be more where the patron computers are. Back in the day. Same desks.
Oh, did you, maybe there's some sticky notes I posted in there somewhere.
There probably are.
20 years ago.
Yeah. But I've asked them, you know, because when we moved the furniture initially, over the summer, when we were trying to reopen, I told them, we're going to plan for 2 years. that we're in COVID land and it's going to be very strange.
Mhm.
Just long view, and 18 months, 2 years.
Mhm.
So when they think about their workspaces, they know that we are thinking of it as we're not moving anywhere else again. You know, we're really, and I think I kind of have. I mean, I've moved. The reference desk was at the Patron computers, and then it was between the stacks. Now it's over here, and they actually like being closer. And I've thrown out to them, can we go to one desk? Because I'd love one desk, combined reference circ, and they all say no. I say, okay, because I've worked in other libraries where that was the way we did it and it was perfectly fine, but they don't want to do that. So right now they don't want to do that. So, you know, I think if we end up getting a different building or a different kind of, you know, whatever, and aren't using this desk anymore, we sell it. But, you know, and we've done that with lots of other furniture as we've upgraded or, you know, replaced something that was broken, you know. So, but when I talk to them, you know, because I don't want to, when they come to me and say, you know, okay, I have an idea for this, it's like, okay, let's look at it all different ways before it ever gets to you guys, you know.
Yep.
So, you know, and, you know, ARFA is going to start looking at her desk too, because their workflow has changed, you know, even with the desk returning to the same place, you know, they're doing lots more standing and they want a different option and it's just different. So I'm like, you start your drawings and let me know when you have something, but you guys won't be hearing about that desk for 8 months. So, you know, I think this, I mean, I feel like I've gone around with them a lot about this desk. You know, I'm satisfied. And
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm in support of it. I think that honestly, if you looked at buying 4 desks that were decent and put them together, it would add up costing almost this much. You know what I mean? Like you can't get what you want.
Yep.
And it's going to end up costing. And if it's custom made and it's going to fit the space and fit their workflow, then I have no problem with it. And yeah, so I'm in support of it. Does anyone have any other? Okay, well, I'm going to make a motion that we spend $9,882.25 on the desk as quoted by Tucker Library Interiors. And if that should pass, then we will vote on moving money. So that's my motion that we, is there a second? Okay, thank you, Karen. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'm going to vote in favor. Karen,
Yes.
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can we just come back to that motion again?
Yeah, my motion, well, my motion was really that we vote to spend $9,882.25 on the desk as quoted by Tucker Library Interiors.
Okay.
And then now we have to vote to move the money. So you're saying that there's going to be that much in personnel, Yvette? Okay. So what line are we moving it to?
Well, there's already that $1,000
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
it's that one.
in the, it's 8504, 158504 office equipment.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
And that $1,000 is there, so we can
Yeah.
move $8,882.25 from personnel to 158504, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, if that's correct, I will make a motion then. So I'm going to make a motion that we move $8,882.25 from personnel to line 15-8504 office equipment for the purchase of the desk. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Janice. Any further discussion? Okay, I'm going to vote yes. Karen,
Yes.
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
yes.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Now I can go to my director's report for you.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have any questions about anything. I know there was a lot.
There was a lot.
We have to vote to accept the gifts,
Yes,
right?
the first thing
So-
is, are the two gifts. We received an anonymous donation for the children's collection of a book entitled Nance, Trials of the First Slave Freed by Abraham Lincoln by Carl Adams. And Kathy reviewed it and said she would like to add this to the collection.
Okay, then I will make a motion that we accept the donation of Nance, Trials of the First Slave Freed by Abraham Lincoln by Carl Adams.
I'll second.
Thank you, Karen. I vote yes to accept. Karen,
Yes.
thank you. Sohini,
Yes.
Janice, okay, oh, the
Yes.
mute, thank you. And Janet,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Thank you to our anonymous donor.
And we received a donation of a PS4 gaming system from Michael Angela and Cameron Hall. Cameron had wanted to borrow our PS4 system, but at the time it was lost, quote, quote, since it had not been returned from being checked out pre-COVID. And we had sent notices to the patron who had it. So Cameron asked his parents if he could ask Santa for a PS4 to donate to the library to replace the lost item. And they brought it into the library on March 4th. I happened to be on the reference desk at the time. And I had heard about this, maybe negotiations going back and forth for a little while. So it was lovely to meet them. And I took a picture of them.
But it's a wonderfully generous
Incredibly generous.
idea and like really, really wonderful. So we would like to sincerely thank them for that generous donation. And Cameron, thank you. That's really lovely. And I will vote to accept their generous donation of a PS4 gaming system. So I'm going to make a motion that we accept that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Janet. I will say yes. Karen,
Yes.
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
I'm trying to keep the background noise to a minimum.
it's okay.
Yes.
It's good. We heard the squeak. We heard Rocket with his squeaky toy. It's all good. So we're good. And Janet.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Under grants, I got a survey. State Library sent out a survey from Chris Pappis's office about a local project tracker. So I just kind of filled it out very generally for we're exploring, you know, possibly building a renovation. And then I sent it on to Paul because it seemed like I didn't know what other projects in town might be, you know, eligible for this. So we'll see. So that's just kind of, we'll see. And then I included some information about the American Recovery Bill, just because that is tied to the IMLS money, and the IMLS funds are funding Overdrive. And we'll see what other projects might be available for libraries. There might be some infrastructure money available. So we're just watching it, just letting you know what we're watching. Yeah. And the next part here is I sat down with the staff because we've been seeing more groups come in who are non-family groups since winter vacation in February. And so the staff, the department heads propose moving to this stage, which is adding a little bit more seating, just one additional chair to each table. When we moved the furniture over the summer before we opened, Joanne and Jared measured everything. So, you know, right now where things are, they've already accounted for, is this 6 feet from the stacks? If someone is browsing the stacks, you know, And so there's not a lot of stuff we can add, and there's not a lot of stuff we can move, because they've already measured it and everything is in the place where it needs to be to provide the social distancing. So we have kind of like, you know, in the stage 7, if a group comes in, then they can grab extra chairs from Lowell or my office, which are in storage. And, you know, if people need to sit around a table and it's more than 2 people, then we can accommodate that. But we're not going to leave a whole bunch of chairs out because that's not the mandate right now.
Mhm.
You know, we're still trying to adhere to the social distancing. So I don't know if you have questions about stage 7.
So Heaney, please.
So you said that the small groups will be allowed. Are they like calling in ahead that we are coming in with like 5, 6 people or 7
I love
people?
that. Oh, good. I get to tell you a story. So we had a group call saying I'd like to bring 7 people into the library. And 7 people showed up, and then all of a sudden there were 7 more people at this group, and we didn't know. So the staff did the best they could, and they were trying to make accommodations and get people the chairs, but the chairs are in storage. And we had not discussed this as a staff about what to do if suddenly a group shows up. You know, Children's Room has been having family groups and a daycare come, and they sit on the floor and read one story, check out books, and they're gone. You know, so it's not a group staying for 2 hours because we're still adhering to the, you know, kind of time limit. So that's why we had to come up with a plan. And now, you know, our room capacity was, you know, like 24. But at the beginning in September, you know, at the end of September, we weren't comfortable with allowing 24 people in right away. And, you know, to be honest, 24 people didn't show up. So we figured let's cap it at 12. No, let's just kind of count people. We had the greeters. That's why we had greeters to kind of manage how many people were in the building at any given time. And now suddenly it's ramping up. So, you know, we're trying to address managing how many people are on the floor, and we have different, you know, it's different numbers upstairs and downstairs, but the staff really wanted to know what is the guidance for this. And so Children's Room, you know, they now will be able to close the door, you know, if they reach capacity, and ask people to wait. You know, we just haven't had to do any of that yet. And so now we see that, you know, there's a little bit some people are able to move about more freely or get out in town a bit more. Not everybody, but now we're starting to see a little bit of an increase. So it was just, you know, trying to figure that out. I don't know that we usually get calls for when people come in. And this particular group used to come into the library regularly, but wouldn't call ahead. They would just come in because you just come into the library and sit at a table or chairs or something like that. But I guess for some reason they called ahead, and they seem to have a regular plan, you know, of coming in weekly, you know, at least once a week. But, you know, now we have a, you know, now we know what to do and how to better accommodate them, and rather than the staff not knowing because there's no plan yet.
So I guess I feel like if you think and your staff feels comfortable and thinks this is the normal next step, then I would support that. But I would like to state that if at any time you feel the need, the staff feels uncomfortable, they want to pull back a little bit, I want you to feel like you can
Oh yeah.
do that. You know, like I think that if it's getting to be too much,
Yep.
if there's clusters, if there's new strains, if there's numbers, like I think you are well
Okay.
within your right to be like, yeah, no, we're going to rein it in, you know? So that's my feeling is I would be supportive of you opening it, but I want you to feel comfortable saying back to stage 6 or 5 or whatever, if the staff has any discomfort with the numbers of people or seating, etc. So
I'll just add that as a bullet point so it's written and everyone knows
yeah,
that option.
yep. because I know myself, we're starting to open up a little bit, and there are moments where you have a moment, you know, where you're uncomfortable, and your staff will be bombarded with that. If people start coming in, that they might start to feel uncomfortable at times. And I think that should be open for discussion. We've done a
Yeah.
really good job carefully opening and hopefully, you know, keeping people happy, comfortable, and safe first, right? And that's really important. So
Yeah, that's when the group came in the first time, that was the discomfort from the staff, where it
Mhm.
was, what is happening, where did all these people come from?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so, you know, I was not in the building at the time, but because I was at a different meeting, virtually from home, but you know, Arfa was in the building and she took charge and she spoke to the adult, you know, the people in charge of the group and said, we don't have the capacity for this, you know. So the staff, yeah, the staff has I had the department heads ask them, you know, you go back to your staff and find out what is your comfort level and what is the next step that you think we can move to, because if we're seeing an uptick in people, that's fine, but hopefully, you know, I mean, it would be nice if we could open while people are wanting to get out more, but that doesn't force our hand. I can't, we're not going to force, you know, be forced to open if we don't have the resources, or if the governor hasn't lifted a mandate or something like that. I mean, we still need to be very careful, but this is what they came up with.
Okay.
So they're comfortable with this, but I will put in the line that if we need to step back to an earlier stage, we will.
Yep. Excellent. Does anyone have any other comments or questions for Yvette? Janice, you're still muted.
I echoed what you were thinking or saying, Deb, that, you know, you guys have always had the option to pivot back to a different level. I think you've done a great job making that clear. So I would echo what you're saying, Deb.
Thanks. Karen.
It's more of a question. Those air filters, the movement, are all those installed and is the air circulating now?
They're working, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And, you know, they have different settings. So if you want to crank it up, if a large group comes in, or it's overnight or in the beginning of the day, you can crank it up, you know.
Great.
And they do not make a sound. I have noticed that. I asked Yvette, oh, this is the air filter. Like, you cannot see them, how they have placed it. It's really, you can see them, but you don't feel that they're there. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, then I'm going to make a motion that we that the library move forward to stage 7, slightly modified social distancing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Janice. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'm going to vote yes. Karen,
Yes.
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
I am not sure what other,
Thank you for keeping us up to date on the carry beam. That is something I worry about. So I like hearing that that's, you know, there's some discussion on that.
yeah.
And I did want to note that for 2 things for your staff. First of all, thank you to everybody who is helping with the intern. Like, I understand that we are getting the benefit of his work and we appreciate the way he's doing, but I know that it's work for your staff also. And it looks like across departments, people are taking the initiative and helping out with that. So that's wonderful. And I was in the other day and Nikki and Eve seem to be the people that help me a lot, and they are doing a great job. And when I walked out, I actually said, first of all, it was a beautiful day too. I had a big stack of books. They were so nice and helpful. And I'm like, that was great. So I just want you to know that people are appreciating the work that they're doing. So, okay. All right, that's my little tangent, even though I said I was going to have minimal tangents, but you know, it's all good stuff. Anything else for Yvette? Any questions about the director's report? Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report.
Okay. I'm on the balance sheet. Oh, I pulled up the wrong one. Sorry. I pulled up January's. That's not going to work. How did I pull up January's? What does yours say at the top? Hello?
Deb, you're muted.
No, I'm not muted.
No,
Deb-
me.
Deb is
So
muted.
I'm pulling mine up right now. So does anyone have Janet's open?
Not for the balance sheet.
I didn't look at the date. Sorry. Balance. March.
I don't see it on mine, but that's
Oh,
very likely.
I'll just
to-
pull it up. Oh, wait, no, that's not it either. Oh, this is weird. All right, I'm sorry. Way too many things open. Ugh. You know what, just continue. I'll move, I'll find it.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, it's just weird.
Well, the only thing that we have next is the acceptance of minutes, which Janice, thank you for sending the 3 today. I did not have a chance to look at those. So if we could put that one off and just accept the minutes from February. Does anybody have any comments, corrections, or questions about the February? Where's my first page? The February minutes that Janet sent out. I believe it was February 16th. Anything? Aren't you going to miss taking minutes, Janice? No? Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we accept the minutes from our February monthly meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Janet spoke up, Karen waved, so we'll go with Janet. So I'm going to vote yes. Karen,
Yes,
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
thank you, and Janet.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So Janet.
Yeah.
You want us to wait for you, or are you still looking?
I'm actually just I'm pulling up QuickBooks right now,
Okay.
but I don't know what happened.
All right, well, the Building Exploratory Committee has nothing to report. So
Nope.
the Friends of the Merrimack Public Library, is there anything for us from them?
Their next meeting is March 29th at 7 p.m.
Okay.
They're just continuing to discuss difficult to do fundraising, and they're hoping that there would be a summer book sale. But there's not a lot to report.
Okay, thank you. Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee, there was some news about the bricks. Would you like to share that, Yvette? Well, all the bricks were counted, right? So that's it. They have not met though. And Town Center, Karen, anything for the Town Center?
nothing.
Nothing. Quiet month. Okay. Library Board of Trustee committee updates. So Personnel Committee, this doesn't necessarily fall under the committee, but we do need to set a date with Yvette to discuss her annual review. I did send out some dates, and then once I started getting responses from everybody, there was no date that worked for everyone. So I thought perhaps it was best if we actually just try to hash it out here. So we do need to do that. Janet, are you ready with QuickBooks?
I am.
Why don't we do your report and then we'll go on to try to find a date. So,
Okay. So fines, the beginning balance for February was $7,688.18. And then we ended with $7,381.75. And then special started with 20,474.76, and it ended with $19,084.66. I do have one other thing with this, is the Watson account is currently sitting in a CD at DCU. That matures March 31st.
Hmm.
I didn't know if we wanted to move the money. I know we're taking money out. We're taking $1,000 out for next year. But do we want to keep the money in a CD? Do we want to move it to like Fidelity and put it in something that will grow a little bit better? Any thoughts?
What would you recommend?
I'd like to move it.
Okay.
So, because in 2 years we made $1,000. It's like 1,000. I can just tell you.
What would you like to move it into? In Fidelity, or have you not thought that far
I
ahead?
haven't thought that far ahead. I mean, we got $30,000, and essentially it's just been sitting in a CD, and we take the interest off of it, and then we just keep it as 30,000. We're not even growing the principal. Not that we have to grow the principal, because that wasn't stipulated in the trust, but it'd be nice to do something like that.
So would the plan then be at Fidelity, you would still take out a certain amount each year to?
Well, it's all about what the board wants to do. There is no
Mhm.
stipulation in this trust to say you have to take out anything. It can just grow. Because it was sitting in a CD, I think last year it was less than $500 last year. I think it was actually around like 350 last year. But then we
Mhm.
just rolled it over for the next year, and now we're at like 1,000 something.
So would you like to make a motion that we move the money when it matures to Fidelity, and then come back to us with a couple recommendations of where we could put that money once it's at Fidelity?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'd like to, well, first, I'd like to make a motion to move the money out of the CD once it matures. That's the first thing I need to do.
Mhm.
And
So
then that's the first motion.
Okay, I will second that. Is there any discussion on moving the money out of the CD? Does anyone have any concerns about doing that? Okay, I will vote in favor. Karen,
Yes,
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes. And then
Okay,
I'd like to move the money from DCU to Fidelity. And then next month we can decide where to move it to.
Yep. Okay, I will second your motion to move the money from DCU to Fidelity. Is there any discussion on that move? Okay, I will vote in favor. Karen,
yes,
Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you,
so
Janet.
that would be an April,
Mhm.
Agenda.
action item.
Action item, right?
Yes.
We need to look at where we're going to put the money
An
once it's there.
April action item to determine where the money that was transferred from Fidelity should be invested,
Mhm.
Yep.
or transferred to Fidelity should be invested.
Yep.
Can I
Great.
go-
Go ahead,
Can I-
Janice.
Can we at some point go back to the director's report? I have a question, but it doesn't have to be right now.
Sure, let's finish up the committees and then we'll circle back to Yvette. So, okay, Janet, was there anything else for treasurer's report?
Nope, just those.
Okay. So under personnel committee, actually, why don't you do it here, Janice? What was your question for Yvette for the director's report?
Well, I think this is on page 4, the committee voting to eliminate municipal immunities. Were you just letting us know about that just as a point of information, or is there something that like we need to say about that or do about that? And I don't mean like an action we need to take.
Which,
Any direction that you guys are going to get is going to be from the NHLT board.
Okay.
But you should be aware of it because you are elected officials and you will become liable.
Yeah,
yes, oh,
that was
That's-
kind of concerning.
yes, it is.
But I appreciate you making note of that.
When I find out stuff, I pass it on. I mean, I was notified of that, and yeah, that's not good. So I don't know if the NHLTA, has sent anything out. I'm not on their email list, but I'll keep hearing about it. So I'll just keep forwarding stuff to you.
Would that apply, obviously to us, would it also apply to like school boards, town council? It would be across the board from what I was reading? Yeah, okay. Thank you for making us aware of that. Any other questions about the director's report? Okay, we need to set a date that works for all of us to do Yvette's review, and it has to be before the elections while Janice is still a member of our board. So we looked at some March dates. There were, I'm just going to put it out there, next week I don't think is going to work. Unless people could do the 25th or 26th. I don't know if there's any availability on those days for people.
I could do the 25th, but I'm thinking nobody else could since you said there weren't any dates.
Well,
set.
I just know for us, Amherst also, our vaccine for shot dates are the 23rd and the
Oh.
24th, and we haven't found out when yet. So it'll be after school. And so I don't want to make a
Yeah.
commitment because,
Yeah, we
so-
have something too.
yeah, so I don't know if anybody could do the 25th, if that date works.
Next week I'm in a tight place a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Next week I have a little issues.
Okay.
Planning a meeting.
Okay, so let's go
Six.
let's go forward into April. What about April 1st?
I can do April 1st.
Okay.
I
Anybody
can.
else?
I can.
You can? Okay, I can also. Yvette, would April 1st work for you?
What time?
What time would work for you?
For me,
Yeah,
I have before 6.
okay.
Anytime before 6. The whole day is open until 6 that I've
So,
broken.
so Heaney is before 6 difficult for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm supposed to start a contract position next week.
Okay,
So
congratulations.
that is kind of with the west coast, so I have to balance with their time, kind of. Not west coast, it's like the Chicago area, so they're 1 hour behind. So
Okay,
that's
okay, let's look at the week after that then. Is there any date, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th? I mean, I'm good for any of those. Is there any date?
and any date after that, hopefully in 1 or 2 weeks, I should be okay with balancing the thing.
Well, we have to
Right,
meet this
yeah.
week. We will have to meet this week because we have to do it before the election. So we'll have to,
Yeah, anytime after like 7 o'clock, I'm okay. Any day
okay,
that week.
okay. What about the 5th at 7?
I can do that.
7 p.m.
Janet, you can't? Okay. What about the 6th at 7?
I can.
I can too.
I can.
Okay. That works. Okay, we're gonna say the 6th at 7 o'clock. We're going to do Yvette's, meet with Yvette for her annual review. Okay. All right.
Do you want me to send a link out?
Yeah, that'll be great.
Get it?
Okay. All right. We'll go from that until we hear anything different. That's our date. So, okay. I don't think there was anything else under personnel Janice or Karen, was there anything? Okay. Building Maintenance Committee, we have not met, nothing. Finance Committee. Okay, so we will just review the the March action items. So, and I know that I am reaching out to the Quimby Fund, or to the Quimby attorney to see where it is in that process. I will call them because of email have not been successful reaching them that way. Let's see, what else did we have on there? Janet was going to move the money. Okay.
The MOU.
The MOU, I'm going to send an email to Paul about opening the discussion on the MOU draft. Was there anything else?
Does the social media policy draft need to be reviewed by, or is it going to stay as it
By
is?
an attorney
an
like the other
attorney.
one?
Yeah.
I wondered that too.
Well, we don't usually have attorneys review policies. I think that the photography, videography one was important because of the challenges that were being made. We wanted to make sure we were handling that appropriately. Yvette, do you have any concerns about the social media policy that would warrant an attorney? Okay. Okay. Is there anything else?
I have a card from a staff person.
Oh,
Thank you,
that's
card.
nice.
Yeah. I haven't been going in to get mail very often, so this is from Sheila Lippman, thanking us for the generosity of the gift cards at the holiday season, and thanking us for our kindness and generosity.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. Yvette, go ahead.
Yeah, I had included a proposal for the strategic plan.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yep. I did take a look at that. And I think we need to start thinking about those things. I don't know. I think that's probably the kind of thing that we would address at our trustee retreat with the next board, right? Don't you think? Or is there something we should be doing now? I mean, I don't know that there's anything.
Yeah.
We definitely want to do it. I guess I did see that you saw about the 2 people from Primex who could do it. So were you leaning towards Primex or were you looking at that other consultant?
I was
to be
looking
our
at the other
facilitator?
consultant, but
Mhm.
I don't know what her fees are. And I don't know, how much do you want a consultant involved? The previous time we did this, the board only wanted the consultant to facilitate the focus groups. And then I wrote it. So, it kind of, I mean, this is kind of your baby, as the trustee board. What do you want to know? How do you want it to run? Who's involved? How many people are involved? That kind of thing. So I don't know what your questions are, and I will pose the same kind of questions that I'm asking you guys to the department heads and eventually to the staff. So we get, input from both sides, and then we'll have, people from the community and do focus groups and stuff. But I just don't know what your general idea is or what you want.
So not having been on the trustee board when you did it the last time, I would be interested in hearing what your thoughts are on what the advantages might be for having you do it versus having a consultant come in to write it. Like, what were there things in the process that you thought, oh, this might have been better done from outside, or
I think, I think the library and libraries are in a moment in time when we we've had certain kinds of challenges and had to pivot and reassess our services and how do we meet the community's needs in a virtual environment. And now when we come out of COVID, we have to kind of figure out which services are viable or continue to be viable. So I think if we're going to be thinking of, the first strategic plan, the trustees wanted to do a user satisfaction survey. And I think we're done with that.
Mhm,
You know, I
mhm.
think now it's thinking more to the future, and you know, there's a benefit to an outside person um, who thinks of it in a totally different way and sees it in a different way. There's one consultant, you know, she examines organizations, you know, in terms of their excellence, which I think would be a very interesting idea for a library. Um, you know, I'm always game with doing something else. I'm perfectly happy to write it, but you know, you know, it's a different role when you're on the inside. You know, I know what I would want to say and how to present it, but I think it's also neat to hear from someone else, you know, especially if we're at a crossroads or at a place in time where, you know, all libraries are kind of struggling with the same thing. And, you know, it used to be relevance, and now it's kind of a whole, you know, it's relevance times 1,000 because of COVID. And how can we be nimble moving forward? You know, I
Okay.
can, you know, I mean, I have a booklet from the other consultant if you want to take some time, you know, to look at that. Certainly welcome to, you know, talk to either of these folks to see, you know, what is the benefit of having either of these folks, you know, facilitate. It kind of depends on what you want. That's what
I would love for the trustees to put this on, that we would have like our retreat in May with our new board member and talk about timeline and where we're going. So maybe these are questions for us to think about. And if you could put that booklet in my folder, and I'll come in and get it and read it. And then I would be happy to pass it along if other people want to take a look at it, just to get some perspective on the strategic planning process and what we might be looking forward to. I can just send an email when I'm done and see who wants to be next. If you'd like to at least skim it and see if you think there's an advantage to hiring someone. We don't have to. It's just good to know. Karen.
I just want to speak from personal experience, which is different because I've never been a corporate person. I've always been in education. But whenever there was a project like this for like the Teachers Association, or when there were negotiations, or even when there were, you know, any kind of board that needed to come out with some kind of a product. In this case, it would be the strategic plan. I've done it both ways, and I have found that a facilitator is really a good way to go, because they bring up both any sides. They're objective, and they've also been exposed to things that and to thoughts and ideas that we as a group of 5 wouldn't have been. So, not knowing what I don't know, I heartily recommend a facilitator. So,
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I think that actually, as your speaks to one of the things we want to get. When I think about like overall, you know, we are looking at building options. It's not impossible to think that we may become to a point where we want to do some fundraising, and we need to have a direction, and we need to have a professional plan and show where the library is going. We need to, you know, we're looking at some long-term goals for the library, and we want to make sure we're in line with the community. So there's a lot of different parts moving in there for sure. Does anyone have any comments or questions for Yvette on the proposal? I think these are great questions for us to think about. I will, like I said, I'll look at the booklet and pass it along to whoever else wants to do it. This should probably be one of our main agenda items, that we are at least developing a plan at our retreat and moving forward with this for sure. Anything else? All right. Okay, if there's nothing else to come before the board, I will just find my agenda in this pile of papers and I will read the things that are coming up. The town deliberative session already passed. So let's see. We have an appointment with the architect on March 23rd at 6:30 via Zoom.
Mhm.
The Friends of the Library Board meeting is March 29th, 2021, 7 p.m. via Zoom. Town meeting voting day is April 13th from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening. The Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee is meeting April 27th at 5 p.m. via Zoom. And the NHLTA annual conference is May 12th and May 13th from 9:30 to 2:45 virtual. Again, Janice, a heartfelt thanks for your time and dedication to the library. It has been much appreciated. So,
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Janice.
okay.
Thank you for letting me
One-
participate.
So Heaney, go ahead.
So on the 23rd, y'all go ahead, start the meeting without me if I'm a few minutes
Okay.
behind. Okay, because it's with Jason. Yeah, I'll just
Yes.
catch it. Because hopefully, if I start on I'm hoping on the 22nd, I'm starting, keeping my fingers crossed.
Good luck and congratulations on your new position. That's great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's work from home, so that's the best thing. So.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, then at 8:31, I would make a motion that we adjourn. I just want to say that having sat through some really long meetings, I'm very proud of us that we can get through a lot of stuff in an hour and a half. So, awesome. Okay, so motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we'll let Janice second on her last time out. Okay, I'll vote in favor. Karen,
Yes.
so Heaney,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Yvette. Thanks for all the information. So,
Okay.
okay, see you guys soon.
Bye,
Take care.
guys.
Bye.
Okay.